Is Victor Wembanyama a good sports memorabilia investment? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Don't see too many videos on YouTube anymore about sports memorabilia investments. It's usually just about kind of collecting now because the market has kind of gone. Boo! It's been a little tipsy turvy lately here, but it's definitely gone down. Will it go back up? I don't know, but this will be a fun video for you here. Hopefully, you kind of get some information on investing in Victor Wembanyama. For those of you who are not familiar with who he is, he was the 2023 number one overall pick by the San Antonio Spurs in this year's NBA draft. He's from France. He's a 7'5". I don't know if you want to call him a forward, center, but he can kind of do it all. But the experts have called him a once-in-a-generation talent. So that's a big deal there. I'm not sure how many times we've heard that before, where they actually didn't meet any of those expectations. Probably 9 times out of 10. So he's got a lot of expectations thrown at him here. But he has been one of the hottest, sports memorabilia players out there as far as his cards go. Haven't seen too many autographs out there lately. But his cards have definitely been overpriced, is the friendly term for it. They've been pretty expensive there. I've seen some redemption cards, go for $18,000 or so, which is that's a pretty nice car. Very, very nice vehicle you can purchase for that. They've had unsigned cards of him in a Yankees uniform going for $400. Of course, he threw out the first pitch at the Yankees game. I think the NBA draft was in New York, so that's why he was doing that. So they've been doing those Tops Now cards, and those have been selling for $350, $400. So the hype is definitely real. And look, the hype is fun. I don't know about you. I like the hype stuff when it comes out. It's kind of exciting when other people are really interested in a guy, and you can kind of dabble in it and do some quick flips. It's kind of fun and exciting. I definitely see why a lot of people do this, okay? But let's talk about the pros and cons of investing in him, and then I will talk about towards the end of the video, is he a good buy short or long term, all right? So as with anything I talk about on these videos, this is just entertainment, fun talk, informational purposes for you. What you do with your own money is completely up to you. Just make sure that you actually physically have the money to buy stuff like this and that you are comfortable if it goes to $0. All right. So again, make good financial decisions. Don't buy something that is going from your food money to Victor Wembanyama. Okay. We're not going to be doing that. All right. So anyway, this guy's been all over the place on social media channels. So I thought it would be kind of a fun video to kind of break this down a little bit. And there's some fun and interesting statistics in here. I've been watching a couple of different YouTube videos on the history of him and the history of the NBA draft. And there's some really interesting stats out there on why maybe he will not pan out and meet the expectations that the experts have put on him. So let's go ahead and jump on into the pros and cons. And then at the end, again, I'll talk about kind of the investing side. All right, pros of Mr. Victor Wembanyama as a player. I don't know if you had a chance to see the interview that he did during the NBA draft with his family there. His mom and his dad were there. Really good interview. It sounds like he comes from a really good family. Both his parents were athletic. They're both very well spoken and seem like they've all got really good heads on their shoulders. And as you know, coming from a good family is very important for NBA draft picks. If you watch the Last Dance, Michael Jordan had his dad and his mom pretty much traveling with him during his rookie season. So it can definitely be a huge bonus to have parents there as a support for you during your rookie season and subsequent seasons after that. So that's a big positive. And he's got 2 really solid parents with him, at least from what I can tell from the 10-minute interview, all right? He's going to a great organization. We all know how great the Spurs are. We all know how great his head coach is going to be, Greg Popovich. He's coached other big-time, big guys such as Tim Duncan and David Robinson. So they've got some sort of proven system there to get these big guys up to living to their potential. He's also really young. He's 19 years old. Sky's the limit for him kind of on talent. He's playing this good at 19 years old. He's probably going to be a pretty decent player if he kind of continues on that track. He seems really committed to the Spurs. He wants to get playing right away. He turned down the World Cup invitation for France, so he's going to be fully dedicated to his rookie season with the San Antonio Spurs. Autographs, there's not much on the market right now. So I know Fanatics was actually offering out basketballs and jerseys, and they were kind of in the 600 to 700 range. That's kind of the retail pricing for those. So those will probably be on the market probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks. It's actually not that bad. I thought it would be a lot higher than that, but that seems pretty fair for the number 1 overall pick there. Cards, there's just not a bunch graded yet. Obviously, he hasn't played a game for the San Antonio Spurs, so they've got kind of a bunch of random ones. They got that Sports Illustrated one that's always off-center. It's just a complete weird card. Not for me. I'm not a huge fan of those little Sports Illustrated cards. So, again, there's just not much on the market yet for him memorabilia-wise. Cons. He's 19. I mean, go back to when you were 19 and imagine the amount of pressures that you would have going into the NBA and kind of where you would need to be for your mental game and also your physical game. Just remember how weak you were physically at 19. Most of us probably weren't lifting that much weights. He's going to have to play against grown men who do this for a living. Like, this is the way that they make their money. So he's going to be playing against the best of the best. And he's going to probably struggle for a little bit, physically, probably mentally as well. That's a big part of the game. The NBA season's tough. I mean, 82 games is a lot of basketball games. I played in my daughter's basketball tournament, charity tournament for her elementary school. And I played 2 games in one day, and my feet were absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. Now, granted, I'm not going to be in the shape that kind of Victor Wembanyama is going to be in, but holy crap, that was tough playing 2 games in one day. It was like 30 minutes, so it wasn't all that much. It wasn't like a full NBA game, but so it's just going to be tough for him. That's to be expected. That's going to be all rookies. That's not just him. And also, the Spurs suck. They won 22 games last year. How long is it going to take for them to be a contender again? Who knows? But he's going to have to definitely get some pieces put around him here to make the Spurs a better team. Here's some very interesting stats here. I'm going to run through 3 stats for you on the last 25 number 1 overall picks in the NBA draft. Only one has won Finals MVP. Out of those 25, only one. You might be able to take a guess at who that might be, but LeBron James is the only one. There have been, that's won a Finals MVP. There have been 2 that have won League MVP out of those 25. And that was, I believe, Derrick Rose and also LeBron James. Out of those 25, 6 have won NBA championships. All right, so just 6. So not very positive statistics for a number 1 overall pick. All right, now it's just going to be a big challenge for him, as I've talked about. So big question: is he a good buy? Now let's run through some more stats here that are kind of more related to the Spurs and also to big guys in general. Now everyone likes to compare him to Tim Duncan and Dave Robinson simply because they were on the San Antonio Spurs already. Tim Duncan, 5-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP. He's in the Hall of Fame, of course. He finished 16th overall in regular season total points for his career. Okay, he's got 26,496. That's a lot of points. He finished 6th overall in rebounds with 15,091. Now, if we're talking about Tim Duncan's rookie cards, 1997 Topps Chrome Refractor, probably one of his best rookie cards. I mean, there's got some other ones out there, but that's a popular pick. It's about a $7,000 card. Okay, very expensive card. His base version of that 1997 Topps Chrome is about a $400 card. Okay, so you can kind of get some numbers here to work with when we're talking about Victor Wembanyama's cards. Signed licensed jerseys for Tim Duncan are tough. They're tough to find because Tim has not signed that much, if at all. I cannot remember the last signing he did. I've sold them in the past for about $1,000 or so. I think if you were to do a signing today, it would probably be in the $750 to $1,000 range for a signed licensed jersey. All right, somewhere around there. But he's tough, man. We really need him to do an autograph signing. Let's talk about David Robinson for a quick second here. Two-time NBA champion, 1995 league MVP. He's also in the Hall of Fame. He finished 44th overall in total points, 20,790, and then he's also got 10,497 rebounds, which he finished 33rd at overall. Okay, so very good statistics for him. He kind of came out, I don't want to say in the junk era, but 1989. So he's got the Hoops card, which is a popular one for him. He's got two different ones. He's got the 310 version, which is a $50 card or so. And he's got card number 138, which sells for about $350, $400. All right. So again, some kind of comparison numbers here between Duncan, Robinson, and then also Victor Wembanyama. And Dave Robinson just did a signing in 2022, so fairly recent, and signed licensed jerseys. They sell for about $300 to $400 or so, okay? So again, pretty good big guy here. Done more recent signings in the Hall of Fame. He's won NBA titles, and he's kind of $300 to $400 range, all right? Now, Victor Wembanyama, I mentioned, has already doubled that. Now, of course, that has a lot to do with hype and all that kind of stuff in the, 2023 social media era. So it's not really comparing apples to apples. But I just want to give you some statistics here to see how far he's actually got to come in order to, be in the same realm as some of these guys who are arguably two of the best big guys of all time. So if he plays for 15 years in the NBA, he's going to have to average 21.5 points per game in order to catch Tim Duncan. He's also going to have to win an NBA title every 3 years. So those two numbers right there are just, it's a big mountain to climb. To catch Robinson, he's going to have to average about 17 a game and for the next 15 years, okay? And then he's going to have to win a title, once every 7-8 years, all right? That might be a little more doable for him. So give you some perspective here. Only 43 players last year averaged more than 20 points per game, all right? And there's roughly about 450 players that are currently playing in the NBA. So about 10% can average about 20 points a game. Not that many, but actually more than I expected. So, and of course, out of these players, just a handful of them are actually power forwards or centers, which is a position he's going to be playing. We all know the NBA is a guard-dominated league. So out of those 10%, it's going to be even far less are going to be power forwards and also centers. But I just mentioned these stats as kind of a way to compare things. But just because a player wins 5 championships, it doesn't mean his autograph or his cards are worth more than a guy who never won championships or won one championship, okay? It's not an apples to apples argument, but it at least kind of gets you thinking about, hey, how good does this guy have to be in order to be kind of in the same era and market as some of these best big guys of all time. So with that being said, is Victor a good buy? We're going to talk about short term and then we're going to talk about long term here, all right? Short term, yes. I mean, I bought some jerseys. Fanatics sent over a message, and I picked up some of them. I didn't pick up any of the basketballs. Basketballs are kind of it's a tough sell sometimes, but I would take as many jerseys as possible. The hype is going to be definitely real from here until the first part of the NBA season, which starts in October. So roughly 3 months from now, from the making of this video here. Plenty of time to maybe get some cards graded if you want to go that route. Maybe if some autograph stuff comes out on the market. But from here on out, that's going to be kind of your best bet, I think, to make money with him is to get some cards graded. Hopefully you get some 10s. Or maybe you've got some uniquely numbered cards that you can sell. I think that's going to be your best bet to do some quick flips there. Again, nothing wrong with that. There's definitely going to be some big hype until that season starts. And then once that season starts, who knows? What if he gets hurt? What if he doesn't play well? So up until that point, I think you're going to be okay. I mentioned the autographed items coming out. I don't think there's going to be a ton of that stuff available for a couple different reasons. Number one, I think people are probably going to be holding a lot of their autograph stuff until the season starts, mainly because, again, Topps now can make cards, like the title says, now. So if something happens where, hey, Victor has his first practice with the San Antonio Spurs, they're going to probably print a card up of that. And so more cards will constantly be coming out for him. Autograph stuff, he may do one signing from here until the beginning of the season. We just don't know. So I don't think there's going to be as much of the autograph stuff coming out. And I think a lot of people might hold that with the fear that he may not sign as much as anticipated. So if you can find some autograph stuff out there with some inscriptions, there was some stuff that Fanatics was offering out. That might be something as a way to kind of hedge your bet to have some inscriptions on the item. I think it was like the number 1 overall pick or something, one of those inscriptions. So those might be a good pickup. Again, they weren't on the jerseys. I think they were just on the basketballs, but I'm not a huge fan of selling basketballs. Jerseys are a little more popular, but again, that's just me here, all right? So I would suggest getting in and out of them as quick as possible. All right, that's how I do it with everybody, but especially with this guy because there's just not a lot known about him. Now let's talk about long term. And I don't think this applies to most of you, but some of you might be considered long-term holds for this guy. I'm not a big long-term hold guy for really any memorabilia, but I don't know. This one might be something you might consider, all right? But for me personally, it's a bad long-term pickup for a couple of different reasons I've already mentioned to you. Let me just go through another couple statistics here for you stat lovers. There's roughly 4,500 or so players that have played in the NBA since its inceptions. 26 players have won 5 or more NBA titles like Tim Duncan. All right. So if I do some quick math in my head, meaning I did it before making this video, that gives him a 0.005 chance of winning 5 or more titles. Now, I'm not saying he's got to win 5 titles to be of having any long-term value, okay? But just to kind of give you some comparisons on where Tim Duncan is at, and we talked about what his prices are, kind of where Victor's prices are. We already know what Tim Duncan is, and Tim Duncan's a tough autograph right now, so some food for thought on that one. But even winning 1 title would be great. I mean, Charles Barkley never won a title. Karl Malone never won a title. Patrick Ewing never won a title. Would you consider those 3 guys to be some of the best? Big guy Barkley was kind of a small forward, but some of the best big guys out there? I would say so. I mean, those guys were, I don't want to say one in a generation talent, but they were definitely one of the best players at their positions when they were playing. 100%. I mean, top 1 or 2 for sure. So it's just going to be a big challenge for him. But also, like, he's going to have so many cards that are just going to be popping up and popping up. I mentioned Ewing and Malone and those guys. I think they have, in Barkley, those are 1986 Fleer guys. Those are part of the most popular set in basketball, or at least one of the most popular sets. And there's a lot of those cards out there, but that's like their rookie card. That's it. Victor Wembanyama is going to have, I don't know, 500 different rookie cards when you can consider all these Tops Now ones they're going to be printing out. So it's just going to be very watered down, even watered down compared to Tim Duncan and David Robinson, the amount of cards that they have as far as their rookies go. I also would be concerned long-term if you're going to be doing autographs, because they can always sign more autographs. It's just kind of watering down those as well. So I really would be concerned about the cards just because there's so many of them. And then the autographs, I mean, they can always sign those. But it's tough to say what the autograph market is for him right now. It just really hasn't been established. And it hasn't really been established yet for the card market. But we do have some information on that one more so than the autographs. Third thing I want to talk about is this guy going to get injured? I mean, we all know big guys tend to have a lot of foot injuries, back injuries. I mean, it's basketball. It's grueling on your joints. And he's going to get injured at one point. I mean, Michael Jordan, remember his second season, he missed most of that season because he broke his foot. So, I mean, you can go through all the Hall of Famers and how many games that they've missed because of injuries, Remember Scottie Pippen's been hurt with his back, all these guys stuff. So, a lot of players are going to have injuries that it's just a foregone conclusion. He is going to get hurt. Number 4, I mean, are there going to be any good players around him? That's going to be the real, concern there. Tim Duncan had David Robinson. David Robinson had Tim Duncan. I mean, Tim Duncan won a title in his second season. I mean, that's completely unheard of. So they're going to have to really get a lot of pieces in there. And will players want to come to San Antonio and, obviously live there and play there with him? I don't know. That's going to be something we're going to have to see here in the future. Popovich is probably not going to be his coach for his entire career. He's probably not even going to stay with San Antonio his entire career. So how is that going to play out? And also, the talent in the league, I would assume, is probably going to be getting better and better. I would hope so. And is he going to be able to beat guys like Jokic, Giannis, Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard? I mean, these are, I would say a couple of them are probably, on track to becoming a Hall of Famer, but these are really good players, like the best of the best. Is he going to be able to put a team together that's going to beat one of those guys for an NBA title? I don't know. And lastly, we know big guys are tough to sell. Shaq, they sell, but as far as the value of their cards and value of their jerseys, it's not really in comparison to some the other guys that are more guard-centered players, like, for example, Stephen Curry. Now, granted, Stephen Curry's won a lot of titles too, but I would argue that Stephen Curry is, out of the current players right now, along with LeBron, probably one of the most popular players of all time. But like Hakeem Olajuwon, does he sell all that well? He's okay. He won 2 titles. He's a Hall of Famer. He's got a 1986 Fleer rookie card. Is he a super popular guy compared to where Victor Wembanyama is right now? I mean, Victor Wembanyama is selling a lot more because of the hype. But again, these 2 guys, Shaq and Hakeem Olajuwon, are 2 of the best big guys of all time. And where is, Wembanyama going to compare to them as far as, the actual value of the rookie cards and value of their autographed jerseys? I mean, could you imagine paying more for his stuff depending on where he finished his career versus how much Shaq and Hakeem Olajuwon sell for right now? I mean, Shaq won. What did Shaq win? 5 titles, 4 titles? So it's just going to be a tough road for him to climb to be ahead of those guys. So my point being is just a lot of factors here that aren't really positive that are going to be affecting his play and thus affecting his autograph price and then also his card price. But there's a 99% chance he does not live up to the hype. So just know that going into this, it's better to do quick flips, especially going into his first season there. Once the season starts, hey, you could be doing great. You could be doing bad, depending on how he ends up doing. You might want to sell some stuff beforehand, maybe hold on a couple of different pieces and see how he goes. Maybe he has a great start to a first season and those go up in value. But I would try to be selling stuff as quick as possible on him, especially before that first season starts. But if you're going to be a long-term guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with, if you're a San Antonio Spurs fan and you want to hold on to him, nothing wrong with that. Just know that, hey, listen, make sure you buy it with money you have, and if it goes down to 0, just be okay with that and enjoy it, because there is a chance that it could go down to practically peanuts. So hopefully you guys like this video. I try to do more stuff like this when I have the free time for you, but hopefully it brings a little bit of some fun stats for you, but also kind of maybe sheds on the real light on what like investing in memorabilia kind of looks like most of the time. And most of the time it doesn't pan out. So if you can get in and do some quick flips, that would be my suggestion. Again, don't forget to visit the website, powersportsmemorabilia.com. And also give me a follow over there on Instagram @PowersAutographs. And I will see you on the next episode.